Good afternoon, and it's a really hot day here. So I want to introduce Walt Davenport, who was nice enough to come down in an unair-conditioned place to do this interview. So I want to say a little bit about Walt. He's been a Costa Mesa resident for 33 years, and he owns a small manufacturing company called SoftTech. He's been on the Newport Mesa School Board for 8 years, has 2 kids that have gone through Newport Mesa Unified School District. He married a teacher, always good, and has been and also served 23 years on the Costa Mesa Planning Commission. So thank you for coming, Walt.
Well, you're entirely welcome, Sandy.
So I have questions. And I've asked the same questions to everybody who is running for the board. What do you think are the 3 most important issues facing Newport Mesa next year?
Well, a budget is always an issue. Never quite enough to do everything you want to do, and it's been a little worse the last few years because of the economy. And now the governor's trying to make it even worse because he says we can't keep a decent-sized reserve. And that's how we survived without having layoffs and furloughs and things of that sort during the past few years. Mm-hmm. In addition to the budget, I think the issue of equity between the various schools has always been an issue, and it seems to be a very difficult issue to totally solve to everybody's satisfaction. So we constantly work on that. I think the overall concept of just providing a first-class education to every student in the district is certainly an issue, and I think we're doing a very good job of that in general.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you'd like to say about that? Or well, maybe we'll just go back because I have a couple of questions about that. So what is your understanding? Because we had this whole thing about restorative justice in this last year. So what's your understanding of restorative justice? And do you agree or disagree with the concept?
Well, I agree with the concept. I think it, to a certain extent, removes the punishment aspect of discipline and turns it more into an intervention. Attempting to have the student understand that they've done something wrong, what it is they've done wrong, who they've harmed, and what they can do to make restitution.
Who would be carrying that out, the restorative justice, in your view of it?
Well, it certainly is at the school level, and I think in many cases it will be the classroom teacher. In other cases, it will elevate to the level of the principal.
Okay, and you definitely agree with the notion of restorative justice.
Yes.
Okay, here's my favorite. What do you think is the future of technology in the district?
Well, it's definitely here to stay.
Yeah.
And it's a terribly important ingredient of education today. Whether a student goes on to college or goes out and enters the workforce directly, they are certainly going to encounter technology and need to be prepared to use that technology. We need to do more in the district, I believe, in terms of things like programming.
What about tablets?
I think they're very useful both for the student and for the faculty. The teacher can certainly enhance the lesson plans by using technology. Mm-hmm. I think the days of whiteboards
yeah, they are whiteboards.
That's not the term I'm trying to think of, though. The electronic boards that they're replaced by the tablets these days.
But you can actually use a tablet with that technology. So I think you can anyway. That's my understanding that you can. Yeah. So is there anything else about? I mean, it's expensive.
It is expensive, and I think a lot of districts, including our district, are using the concept of BYOD, bring your own device. Mm-hmm. And not every student will be able to do that, so the district will make devices available. But it is incumbent on the district then to have software and interfaces that will work with a variety of devices. Mm-hmm. And that is, I think, being accomplished.
How far along do you think we are in that regard?
On the overall timeline, I'd say we're a third of the way.
Okay. How much of the budget do you really understand? And also, in thinking about that, how do you think the money could be saved or better spent?
Well, I think I understand the budget pretty well in terms of the broad strokes. There's a lot of minutia that I don't think the board should be involved in or needs to be involved in. But in terms of the broad strokes, I think I understand it pretty well. As far as saving money, that's very difficult. 85% is tied up in personnel costs, salaries and benefits. To cut those, you cut people, and that's not something we're interested in doing. In other areas, you have to examine the programs that you're offering very carefully, make sure that they are truly worthwhile, and if they're not, they need to go and be replaced by something that will be worthwhile.
Okay, do you have anything in mind that should go?
I don't at this point.
Okay, and how much, and I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but what's your feeling about Common Core? Is that going to be a go, really?
I think it will be. It's controversial. There are a lot of people who are arguing against it, but I think this district has done a good job in getting ready for Common Core. Teachers have put together lesson plans that relate to Common Core, and the teachers themselves are pretty enthusiastic about it. And I think the end result of having kids more introspective, working collaboratively, and understanding what's going on rather than just remembering a lot of information.
Right. Right. It's going to be hard to take the testing. I think I think you're supposed to take it with computers, correct?
Yes.
Is that going to be possible?
I think it will be, between the handhelds that are in the district and the computer labs that are already in existence. I think they'll be able to.
That's great. Okay, so and this is my favorite. Would you have an intern work for you?
I'm not sure that I inherently see a lot of value in that. I know it's one of your favorites.
Oh, totally.
Obviously, it would depend on how it was structured, what the duties of the intern were. But I don't know that I want somebody doing my research.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be more familiar than that with the issues. So I have some question about whether it be of value.
Right. Yeah. Well, we haven't tried it yet, so. So, is there anything else that you'd like to add to maybe what you think is the most important? Is there something else that you'd like to say about that?
Well, I guess you could go down the whole hierarchy of what's important, but no, I think I've covered that from the standpoint of your top three.
I think you are very brave for coming to this house, as hot as it is today, to do this. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sandy.